At the daily grind, at the daily grind, at the daily grind. I don't know if you can hear me singing that, but I was march dancing. March dancing?
March dancing, yeah.
Is that a thing? March dancing?
Sure.
Welcome back to the Daily Grind. It's Friday. I have Rusty Buckets. I haven't called you Musty in like 2 weeks. You're welcome.
You have it. I appreciate that.
You're
That don't
welcome.
bother me. That don't bother me. Harkens to middle school, so we're good.
How are you, brother? I haven't seen you. I missed you yesterday because sometime in the night after the draft, I decided to just literally implode from the Zach Edey news. I'm talking like,
What to say?
dude, I was talking to them Thursday behind the scenes. I was like, is it just me or do I look like a corpse? I look like a corpse tonight, right? I just did not look well. And then about 2 a.m., dude, I woke up and I was like, it's game over. And Kyla had some stomach bug early in the week.
Mhm.
I'm not going to go into much detail, but it was awful.
Awful. Yeah, I mean, I noticed like our group chat started like drying up, and you started getting real quiet, and you kind of checked out there for a little bit. And I'm like, man, he's taking this news hard. I mean, none of us are just over the moon, but Luke is on another level.
It was weird. I was sitting there and I was like, man, something doesn't feel right. And then just
I know that feeling.
like, but now I've had 24 hours and I don't feel sick anymore.
Attaboy.
We're gonna start the show. There's been 2 days of the draft since we last spoke.
Mhm.
Things happened.
Yeah.
Lots happened.
Lots happened.
We're gonna start with the Grizzlies side of it first. The Grizzlies there's 3 new Grizzlies. I guess I should say that. We have one Zach Edey, picked 9th overall. I'm sure we will talk about him. We had Jalen Wells, Colorado State, and Cam Spencer. No, Colorado State, Washington State. And then Cam Spencer from UConn. So I think everybody thought the Grizzlies' needs going into the offseason were big and shooting, and we did address both of those. I think I know your initial thoughts on Edey. I think I know everyone's our initial thoughts on Edey.
Gut reaction. Yeah.
My gut reaction was horror. Horror.
Yeah.
Especially after the roller coaster that it looked like we had trade. It was reported that we were trading up to 6 with Charlotte, but I guess that the price was too high, and so we didn't trade up. And then we just it's like, oh well, we'll guess we'll take Edey. It was just a really fast roller coaster of emotional stuff.
It was the ultimate high and low because I was in the YouTube comments on the Grizz 901 draft show, which sidebar, Daniel Greer and those guys absolutely crushed that. Like y'all absolutely murdered that show so good. It was well constructed. It was smooth, informative, had some great experts. So listen, if you're not tuning in to Grizz 901 on Tuesday nights, do it now. It's such a good show, and Greer and them run a great show. So shout out Daniel Greer. But like in the comments, I'm like, it's happening. As soon as that Jake Fisher news broke, I'm like, oh my God, it's happening. It's happening. And then it didn't. Literally within about 45 seconds, we were getting Donovan Clingan. I'm in the living room here. Maggie, my roommate Craig, we're having a great time. Everything's awesome. And then it's like the rug was literally snatched out underneath me because I just was like bottomed out. And was like, are you kidding me? This means we're drafting Zach Edey. And I'm sitting there in every group chat I'm in, like anybody but Edey. And I'd be damned if he didn't draft Zach Edey. So
drafted him. It didn't waste much time.
And to be fair, about 3 weeks ago, it came out that Kleiman and the guys were really high on Zach Edey. So I'm sure there's some credence to, Edey was our guy all along. But, bro, like it was leaked out too much that you were trying to get Clingan. Like everybody knows Clingan was the guy. Edey was the backup. I'm going to tell myself, like King Meek's here, I wanted to cry in my living room. Maybe not in my truck, but in my living room. But I'm going to tell myself that Charlotte asked too much and Kleiman said, screw you, and hung up the phone and took Zach Edey to make me feel better about it.
That's all that I can think of as well. I assume that Charlotte pulled some kind of chicanery and they were like, we'll take everything you have. And Kleiman was like, wait, Edey's right here. I just, and the one thing that for as fast as Memphis likes to play, we aren't very good in the half court and
awful.
The dude can play. I don't know. I'm trying to, after having every ounce of evil and toxicity leave my body, I was trying to have like a refresh mindset.
Yeah. So I did the same. Yeah. I kind of sat down yesterday after work and just typed up a ton of notes and just like, I need to get all this about Zach Edey out of my head onto, the cloud paper, if you will.
The cloud
today is my iPad. And just kind of banged it all out. And like, I've kind of talked myself into it. I really have. There's just too many good things to like about the guy. He's not going to be your run and gun center. He's not going to be a 30-10 guy, but we don't need that.
No.
I'm sure we're going to get into this. I'm not trying to steal your thunder, but like,
no, please.
But like what we were bad at last couple of years, and like as Grizzlies fans, we have been just bemoaning the fact that we don't have interior presence and rebounding. We don't have size. We don't have a big man. And we checked every one of those boxes in an emphatic way.
Yes.
To the tune of 7'4", 299 pounds, and a guy who shot 75% at the rim. I talked about this on the $2 Sports Show that drops today at 3:00. But there have been 2 players since 2008 in the NCAA that have averaged 75% shooting percentage at the rim on 500 shots with a plus minus of +10. So that his team is, 10 points better with him on the floor and he shoots 75% at the rim. Those 2 players are Zach Edey and Brandon Clark.
Oh,
we now have elite rim scoring.
Yeah.
And like, and we did it we did it without having to mortgage the farm. We didn't have to give up a young wing like a Gigi or a Vince and a bunch of picks. And we got a guy that we don't need 30 minutes a night like he was playing in college. We just need somebody to go out there and get us 10, 12 rebounds and follow up John Moran down the lane to get putbacks. That's all we need.
Yeah, when I was listening to the mismatch, Vernon and KFC this morning, they were talking about Purdue was asking this guy also to play a little reserved, it sounds like. And it seems like everyone has an opinion on the Edey pick. Even my mom, who is not a Memphis Grizzly, she doesn't watch the Grizzlies. She likes them because I like them. She likes UT basketball. This is what I get. This is my good night text last night. Your Grizzlies drafted that freak of nature. They should have taken Dalton Connect. Night, love you. That's what my mom said last night, 2 nights before she went to bed.
Goodness. UT fans have been melting down on Twitter. They win a baseball national championship, and all of a sudden they think that the Memphis Grizzlies need to call them in order to determine their draft pick.
It's so funny.
No offense to Mama over there, but like it just like I had enough. Like I'm sure you saw, I was firing off some spicy tweets yesterday. Just like I got fed up with it. Just like, why do we have to consult y'all? But anyway, I'm going to digress before I get on a tangent there. But yeah, they asked him to play conservatively because the offense ran through him. He played he averaged 37 minutes a game last year, and he had 2 fouls, averaged 2 fouls a game. Now in the NBA, you're going to be playing 20, 24 minutes, maybe 25 when we're playing some big bodies, because he'll be able to bang more with the Jokic and the Steven Adams, those type players. He may not be as good for the games against like Dallas and Minnesota and LA, but like go out there and be a goon, be a menace, man. Yeah. Like body check guys when they come up for layups, get 3 or 4 fouls, like really like put yourself out there, giving Tripp some rest to be able to play like what he does best, because Tripp is best when he's ball hawking and being a menace. And Edey's going to free him up in that drop coverage, because the last time the Memphis Grizzlies ran drop coverage with Tripp and a big true 5, Tripp was the DPOY.
Yep.
And I mean, like there's real potential there for that to happen again.
No doubt. And it's if you want a more veteran presence in the interior, like you can still address that. Like there's still going to be some I don't want to say half price, but tier 2 bigs out there that, and maybe even a tier 1 big if you want to get a little fancy, you can still clear your log jam up and get a veteran center and not be too worried. Like once I started realizing that, and the contract's going to be great too. That's another thing. The money he's going to be making is, and it's just, and shout out to, lost his name. Shout out to Tim Evans in the comments. Why is Klingon better than Zach Edey? They're very different players, but there's a lot. It's really easy to talk yourself into when you go down the list and be like, what does Edey bring to this team and this fit in particular? It's not that hard to make yourself fall in love with the fit. It's really, really not. You cannot like him. Yeah. But the dude can still hoop. Yeah. Even if you don't like how he plays, he can still hoop.
Yeah. he's got 2 paragraphs of accolades on Wikipedia of all the awards he won in college and the Big Ten, which is a basketball conference.
Pretty big.
You know, Klingon projects more athletic because he's about, 20 pounds lighter. But like in every agility test and every sprint test at the combine, Edey was faster. Mm-hmm. Klingon's game probably translates a little better to today's NBA because Edey harkens back to the 90s with the Olajuwons and Robinsons and Shaqs. And like, listen, I'm all for his new nickname being Shaq Edey or Shaquille O'Neal, like Shaq called him. I'm here for the Big Maple. Like, I'm here for it. But for me, like the biggest thing about it, like Klingon, everybody says great locker room presence, big jovial personality, just a great guy. Edey is a competitor. That dude is a dog. And if you watch the Final Four interview after they won, beat Tennessee to go on to play UConn for the national championship, I mean, what did he say? He's like, y'all don't know us. Y'all doubted us. You don't know who we are. We're freaking winners. Yeah. You give me a team full of freaking winners, and I'm here. I will root for that team. Like, I will absolutely do anything for that team. And I think we got that with some of our later picks, too. We got some absolute dogs in this draft class. Yeah. And Edey, to me, like, that toughness, that mentality. And look, he's only been playing like real basketball for 6 years. Right. He was a bench rat at IMG. He didn't really play a ton there. He kind of worked his way up each year. His freshman year at Purdue, he averaged 8.7 points per game, then 14.4, 22.3, 25.2. He's only getting better. We're barely scratching the surface of what this guy can do. And honestly, all we need is if he can average, if he averages 14 points a game with 12 rebounds a game, I mean, the sky's the limit for this team.
Yeah. What else do you need? I mean, what else do you need? Nothing. You don't need the offense to go through the kid.
Yeah.
Like, man, you mentioned the other dogs we got in this draft class. For the first time in a long time, I was like, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like the 2 wings, the two shooters we drafted, it wasn't like maybe like with Jake and Roddy, it was like, well, maybe both these dudes, man, like both shoot over 40% from free. Cam Spencer's he's a G. That dude is like, was a big part of those UConn championships. Mm-hmm. And Wells he's got one of the best stories I've heard.
Oh man. Like hardest worker in the draft. Everybody said just worked his way from D2 to Wazoo and put on a show in the Pac-12 tournament.
Yes.
He's 6'8" or 6'7.5", like big kid. He's got a really quick release. He's a great dribbler. So he can, be that spot up shooter for us off the bench, or he could be a dribble drive guy, one of those hard closeouts. But again, like mentality, man. We got Edey, who's a competitive guy. Jalen Wells is chip on his shoulder because everybody's always counting him out. And I love the video of Cam Spencer. He's 6'4" with a 7'4" attitude, just a junkyard dog getting in faces of him against North Carolina, like popping up and what's the name? I mean, just like give me that, man.
I love that kid.
Let's go.
Well, man, there was I was one of them. I was one of the dudes on here that was like, I want shooting. I want Dalton Connect. Dalton Connect slipped to 15. And I don't think that's relatively telling to me. And when you get a guy who, maybe he won't have as many 35-point games, but do we need that? We just need a spot up 3-point shooter that ain't going to take crap from nobody. And that's what Cam Spencer is. That's what that dude is.
Yeah. And same with Jalen Wells. Like, just stand over in the corner, hit your shot, be tough. And we keep receipts around here, Tim. Like, that lady from Yahoo gave us a D- and said it's the worst draft pick in NBA history. Madam, we drafted Hasheem Thabeet.
Thank you.
Like, clearly you have not been paying attention more than the last 30 minutes in the NBA. This is like he may not be an all NBA. He may not be a Yao Ming or a Shaq or any of those great big post players, but I can guarantee you he ain't going to be Hasheem Thabeet either. Like, what we got is going to be a good, serviceable NBA player. And that lady can take an absolute hike because he's one of us now. Memphis versus everybody. He's one of our dogs now, and I am all in on Zach Edey, man. I may not have been on Monday, but I am today on Friday.
Hey, it's a long week, man. Weeks are long. Things can change.
Yeah,
man, I can't wait for that woman to realize that you want to talk about she going to double back that take so fast. I want to be like, whoa, that's so harsh, lady. What are we doing? Yeah. Like,
I bookmarked it. I bookmarked her rankings. I can't wait to use those again.
It's going to be great. I'm trying to think. We need to keeping receipts, not Grizzlies related. We're going to pivot a little. Were there any other things that stood out for you in the draft in general? I mentioned Connect slipping to 15 or 17, wherever he got drafted. I thought was pretty telling. What was some other big? Rob Dillingham going to the T-Wolves.
Ron Holland going 5th overall. Super high. The 2 picks that I really love that stood out to me it feels like every year in a draft, the Spurs draft a guy that's like, that's going to be a Grizz killer. And they went Stephon Castle at 4. Yep. And that guy's just a scorer, an elite level ball handler, just a great, great combo guard. They can get them buckets. It's like, damn, did they get another like Patty Mills here, Tony Parker? Like, is this going to be a guy that's going to be a thorn on our side? And you pair him up with Wemby, like that pick, when they picked him at 4, I said, ooh, that's a pop guy.
Yeah.
And then the same with the Kings, man, with that, when they took Devin Carter at 13, they instantly get tougher. You put him out there. If De'Aaron Fox re-signs and with Moody and those guys, like those guys, that core they're developing is going to be something to watch. And they got an absolute just scrappy dog defender who's just, again, like he led the conference in rebounds in a conference with Donovan Clingan. Shout out Tim as a guard. And you pair him with Sabonis, good luck getting a rebound against Sacramento, man. I really like that pick for them.
Man, when you talk about Sacramento, this wasn't during the draft, but they made a trade for the other McDaniels brother yesterday. I was so confused. I was like, wait. Which one?
I had to read it 3 times. Yeah.
I was like, wait, why? Why? For who? Mm-hmm. And then I realized what was going on. I was like, okay, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what any slippages or –
I thought like Khalil Ware went about where he was supposed to at 15. I was big on him. Going to Miami, that's a great fit for him. Like he's a Pat Riley guy, process guy, can develop behind Bam. Jared McCain is going to be great for Philly. I like that pick for them. That guy's a sharpshooter. He got really good for them. I feel like it's a legacy pick, especially, what was it, like pick number 54, like 52. Cool, complete the story, 52, complete the story. It's not like you're going to get a guy there that's going to be an all-NBA player, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him to play with his dad, but like, I am probably like the definition of LeBron fatigue. I'm just like, I don't care anymore about LeBron James.
No. One thing that did strike me was everyone that looked like they were 12 in these draft rooms. I want to know what we can do to get in these. There were a lot of young people.
Yeah.
Like it's really,
it
was just, there was one in particular that they kept showing. And the dude in the front was literally sitting like this. And I was like, come on, man, we got to draft people.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the other one, the last one I'll talk about is that kid, the guy that, from Lithuania that the Bulls took. He was a Chicago kid. His family moved to Chicago. He grew up there. Buzelis.
Yes.
Watching him and his brother, like everybody was so emotional, and like it really meant something to that kid to get drafted by the Bulls. And like it could have been a good fit. He's 6'8", he's got a good frame. Just a cool story to watch him be drafted by his hometown team. And we boo-booed all over the Bulls with that Caruso trade. Good on them for kind of making this kid's dream come true in his, hometown.
Man, I was confused. Because I didn't have the sound on the TV. I was kind of like tuned in on my phone. I was getting all the updates. When I just saw the dude, like he was clearly emotional, and I was like, it's just Chicago. I was like, what? I was so confused. I was like, man, the Bulls are like notoriously happy with the play, and why are you crying? And then I was able to hear the story, and I was like, oh man, that's really cool. It's really cool.
It's just Chicago.
I love Chicago. I'm a Bears fan, but I was like, come on, man, what are we doing? What are we doing, kid? You're not from this country, I don't think. Really the Dillingham move. That was something that, because it was really interesting to me, because I would say picks 6 through 9, 6 through 10 were really intriguing, because that was when Memphis wanted to move up.
Yep.
And clearly what I think happened with San Antonio wanted Salon. That was the guy that Wemby apparently loved the most, but also the Charlotte loved that kid. And I just didn't think, I think that they thought that he would not slip. He wouldn't make it past the Spurs to 9 where the Grizzlies were. So
pretty clear.
Yes. But then the Spurs were like, all right, cool. We're good. I thought it was interesting that the Spurs were so quickly to be like, we don't want another top 10 talent. We're going to trade out.
Yeah.
To me, it was kind of like, you could draft someone to help now. Dillingham would have helped that team now, but, and also I didn't realize Minnesota had any draft picks they could still give away. 30, like 20, like they're giving away lots of, it's just.
Yeah. That's what's weird. It's like 2020. The next pick is not till like 27 or 29. Like that was 2030. Yeah. I mean, it's like down the road. Like it was interesting. It was very clear. like Drew said this on our show, this is going to drop today. Like, it feels very clear like they panicked. Like, they were like, oh, our guy's gone, eject. And they just hit bail and they left. Yeah. And so Dillingham fits. I mean, he's a, high upside, high risk, but very few things make in the NBA draft like Kentucky guards, right? Like, there's a handful that didn't make, but like you think about like Book and you think about Rondo and you think about John Wall and you think about all these Kentucky guards, SGA, that have made it over the years. A pretty safe bet is drafting a Kentucky guard, right? Because Calipari may not be right at everything, and I know he's one of the most hated men here in Memphis, but he can recruit guards and take a flyer on him, pair him up with Ant. Dillingham can create some shots and is a scorer too, and just see what happens. I think it's a good fit for Minnesota. Interesting that the Spurs didn't just stay there and take him, but clearly they wanted that Frenchman to pair up with Wemby, and when they didn't get him, they just hit eject.
Well, I mean, you got to hope that in 2030, Wemby's going to be one of the best players in the world. You would hope. Unless something bad happened. I don't know. It was a much more it was a much more interesting draft than I was expecting. Yeah. Just because there were so many good role players. Looking at all the fits was just really interesting. For the first time in a while, it was like, as the picks were happening, I was like, cool, let's see how this fit happens. Let's see how this fit happens. And it was, I don't know. I'm a role player guy. I think that's how you win championships, is with role players, with your Mike Millers, with your, like that's you need you guys like that. Your Lou Wills, like dudes like that. I do it all, guys. I just, there's a lot of these guys in this draft, and I'm excited. I'm really excited for what the Grizzlies are doing to pivot back a little bit. Like, you could get rid of all the wings that we have. I would feel okay. You can get rid of Conchar. Spencer renders Conchar useless. He might even render Kennard useless if you don't want to pay him. Like, just these two picks. Wells is going to be better than Z. Going to be better than Jake probably. Like, it's just they kind of really tiny moves that help indirectly shore up the rest of the roster, I believe.
And I think if you read between the lines here, it tells you that Luke's days are numbered, that all the wings, the bonus wings, are numbered. Like, I really don't think we're done. I think that I don't know that we're going to make a big sexy move where we go get like a big, like a Jared Allen or anything by any stretch. But I think we're going to move Luke. I think we're going to move Jitty. I think we're going to move some of these guys and either get – I still think we need some scoring. We probably need like maybe one more wing. I think we definitely need one more veteran big. And go get like a cheap flyer on somebody and just let like Edey kind of slow play into the role. And then you've got, BC backing him up. I think we're not done, but I don't know that we're going to make a big splash like Marcus Smart we did a couple years ago. I think there'll be some trades. And I think it'll be some stuff that we'll be happy with. But I think the writing's on the wall by the two shooting picks that we took later that Luke's probably out the door.
Yep, I agree with you. We're going to take a quick break. And then we get back, we're going to talk about the weekend because it's the weekend, right? It's Friday, right?
Yes. Fine.
When I miss a day, I get really confused. Thank God. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And right after this, we're going to talk about the weekend outlook. Oh, hold on, let me do it again. The weekend outlook. We'll workshop it. We'll get better when we get back. Right after this break.
Speaking of getting rid of toxins, Kenny Stubblefield, David Jones.
Wow.
Nah, I mean, depending on who you look at it. He may be a toxin to University of Memphis. The University of Memphis might be a toxin to him. In a very dramatic fashion, David Jones decided he will be taking his talents to the NBA. At around 10:55, man, it started feeling a little bleak. I text you. I said, Kenny, is there any hope?
I mean, he kind of the writing's been on the wall, right? Like, I mean, he said it to the Daily Memphians, Drew Hill at the combine. If I get
any inclination that I can get,
think at me the right way, I'll stay in the game.
You only have a very short window of time. I think that window is very small. I think you can get caught up in just becoming an amateur basketball player, and you can lose that window of opportunity.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
This has turned into unrealistic expectations for teams. Not every team is ready to win a championship. There are steps you got to take to put yourself in position to win it. And I thought that what they had done in Cleveland had become a team that was muddled in nothing. And JV, I thought they created a little bit of a culture. You were able to find a star player. I think it's tough. I go back to what happened with Adrian Griffin in Milwaukee. I mean, you got the second best record in the NBA, and they say, well, we don't know if you're the one to get us over the top. Yeah, but the guy you bring in is only 5-6 games over 500 from that point on. You would hope that realistic expectations start to come back into the fold, other than these unrealistic things that it's going to happen. Winning a championship happens just like that, because it doesn't that way at all.
Tune in to the Night Court podcast with your hosts, Rob Fisher and Brevin Knight, on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Daily Grind. You can catch that show, the Night Court. I do that again. Night Court. It's not the Night Court. Night Court. You can catch Night Court. You can catch Anthony Sane Show. You can catch $2 Show dropping today at 3
p.m.
Woo! 3 p.m. You can catch Jess Benson Show starting right now over on. Almost said
Grind City
Media. I almost said Love City Media. I was like, that's all right. That's all right. Grizz 901. Whole mess of stuff for everybody. But back to us. It's Friday, and on Friday we talk about the weekend because there's other stuff going on in your lives other than basketball, I would assume. And there's other stuff going on this weekend. I can go first. I am going to be, so it's the last weekend until July 4th. Planning on having a couple people over, just cooking out and stuff. So I'm going to be doing outsidey stuff. I weld. That's what I do for a living now. I'm a welder, and so I'm going to be welding like this cool. I'm going to be fixing our outside patio because right now it almost looks like a death trap. There's like metal bars. It's like, go through it. And our dogs have navigated it to get outside. But I'm going to be fixing that.
It's like Fury Road out there.
Yeah, it is Fury Road. I'm going to be Tim Allen, but home improvement Tim Allen, not current Tim Allen. Yeah. And not old Tim Allen where he was getting arrested for dealing cocaine. Middle of the road, like Buzz Lightyear home improvement. Tim Allen.
It's like in the 90s, his sweet spot, right?
Yeah, the sweet spot. Tim Allen's sweet spot in the 90s. How about you, brother? What are you doing this weekend?
So tonight is date night. Maggie and I are prepping for one of my most exciting things to come this summer. Deadpool 3 comes out July 26th. And so we're watching Deadpool 1 tonight to start getting ready, prepping ourselves, getting ready with the backstories to be ready for Wolverine and Deadpool coming out in about a month. Super stoked about that. So date night tonight. She's making a Tuscan chicken pasta, which I'm super stoked about. Yeah, she's off today, so she'll be watching this later. Shout out Maggie for cooking tonight.
Maggie.
And then going home to see the family this weekend. So it'll be a nice Saturday, Sunday with the fam. So it's gonna be a good weekend, nice and restful and a good weekend.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited that I don't have anything planned outside of my house. It's I felt like it's been a busy go, and it's been so hot. I'm excited to kind of stay close to home base.
Yeah.
And fester maybe on the Zach Edey pick. I don't know.
Sure.
She might just let this virus just sit inside. That's not true. I'm excited. Yeah. And I'm excited Believe, baby. Believe. I can't fit Edie in there. I was trying to make it
just Belidi.
That's beach beverage. But yeah, anybody that's still having reservations about the draft, about this pick, don't. I don't. Yeah. Edie was ranked on like everybody in the world's top 10 on their big board. It's just breathe.
In climate we trust. In climate we trust. Don't have a stressful weekend. Have a great weekend. Yeah. Do something fun. In climate we trust. Thank you for joining me on this Friday. Thank you, Rusty. Your $2 Sports Show today at 3. Don't miss it. It's a deep dive on Edie. And then, believe it or not, my co-host and I have been wrong about a few things over the years. So tune in and find out what they are. I know, man, it's a shocker, but it's going to be a fun segment. So y'all check it out.
I expect that behavior from Uncle Buck, not from you, sir. Sure. Not from you.
Shocker, I've been wrong.
Shocker. Everybody have a great day. Have a great weekend. And remember 2 things I can leave you with. Remember to be a little weird, just a little bit. And remember to smile. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.